Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's James Dowdy. This is Blue Collar Champions Podcast, episode 1. So, just want to say a big thanks, first of all, to everybody, friends, family, who supported me on the way as this thing got up and going, as I put the platforms together. So, it's 2023, January 8th, 2023. And kicking off episode 1. So I want to do a little introduction, so I'll be referencing my notes from time to time, and really, the whole premise of what I'm doing here, what I'm doing with this channel, is to get the information out that's not being taught in schools, and it's and it seems like people like myself, weren't even aware that it was out there, that it was even accessible. So that's really what has really opened up my eyes and opened up my mind in the last, probably 16 weeks, I'd say, since I stumbled onto these books and really started to read them word for word. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you through kind of a synopsis of the rabbit hole that we're going to go down. So we're going to go into each book. I'm going to read a page from a book today, and then kind of talk about what it means to me, and really how that shift in paradigm can really drastically change your life, and has drastically changed mine and my whole mindset moving forward. I've always been a big fan of the kind of what I'll call the motivational type stuff. Change your mind, you change the world type thing. So that's what has led me to this path, into getting this information out for everybody. I'm sure my friends and family, are tired of hearing about it from me. Just how different life can get once you start to change that paradigm. So the other thing what we're going to do here is, this is going to be a chronological journey as I work these principles in my life. So to catch you up on who I am, so the reason I call it Blue Collar Champions is because I started out early 20s as a union carpenter. Still do hold my card, still do pay into my benefits, all that. I work primarily as a project manager and construction manager now for an industrial furnace manufacturer. And when I say furnace, I mean things that melt other metals, and have been relatively successful in my career, really by just taking what's put in front of me, keeping a positive mental attitude, and learning every chance I get, everywhere I get. So if you look around, what better place to broadcast from, a podcast called Blue Collar Champions, than from inside a work truck. So maybe someday we'll have that big, beautiful studio. We'll be drinking bourbon together. That's actually sounds, it has a really good ring to it. But for now, I thought, this is a good way to show this transition. And by transition, I mean the starting of multiple businesses, multiple sources of income, just all the principles that I've learned in a short period of time, that, like I said, none of this is being taught in schools. None of this is, my brief venture through, junior college. I took international business, macro, micro. None of this stuff was ever taught. None of it. And it's been the most impactful thing that's ever happened to me, is just stumbling onto this. So I want to show, and I'm going to try and drop the podcast once a week. To keep it brief, a half hour. If you're like me, I listen to things on the way to work, coming to and from. I'm always listening to something. With the exception of having the kiddos in the car, I'm always listening to some sort of book, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, I'm trying to feed that and learn and take those principles that have, you know, really just have made so many wealthy people and apply them to my own life. And it happens fast. That's what I'll go into it a little bit, but it happens fast. Once you open your mind to the principles, you know, from Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, Bob Proctor, huge. Your paradigm changes so quickly, and then the positive affirmations, the positive self-talk, that all of a sudden those things like I can't, you know, really start to turn into the I can. So that's really what I want to take you through that journey. And I figured, you know what, why not start now? And I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things going on in my life, but why not start now and let people see how that journey takes place? You know, so it's not just like, you know, fast forward 3 or 4 years and I'm giving a talk somewhere, you know, there's a huge auditorium full of people, you know, and I'm talking about the different businesses I have and you know, the different successes I've had, I built. Why not just why not just watch the journey? So here we go. You know, this is you know, this is what I consider like the master's right here, like the master's degree, like going through the Earl Nightingale, the Bob Proctor, the Napoleon Hill, their books, Think and Grow Rich, Lead the Field, and I have some quotes that I put together. But the men and women who've had their eyes opened to the process, including producing and maintaining key core principles such as positive mental attitude, an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude affirmations in the morning is huge for me. Huge. I mean, you talk about getting your head right, you know, getting a good workout in, getting a good run in, getting 5 miles in the morning, something like that, get an hour of lifting, and then get 15 to 20 minutes of visualization and gratitude meditation and gratitude. Tony Robbins has an awesome one. It's 15 minutes long. You can find it on YouTube. Just search for it. Visualization of your goals being completed. All right. So already, and what you're doing is you're training your subconscious to accept the fact that it's already there. So it's taking away the barriers and it's taking away any of that internal conflict in order to get to the vision, to the goal. You know, obviously, I love when people say, I love when people talk about luck. You know, you're so lucky to have this, you're so lucky to have done that. It's like, you know, it's not luck. You know, luck is where, you know, preparation meets opportunity. That's luck. You know, knowing that multiple businesses are at your fingertips, and I'll go into a little more detail with that later on. But they really are. They're right there. Everything's right there. Using desire, faith, imagination, persistence, the subconscious mind, and shifting that paradigm. You know, so you're looking through a different set of glasses now. You know, I've talked about this for years, that, you know, life really is about perception. You know, two people can look at the same thing and see completely different things. So what is your perception? You know, is it negative or is it positive? You know, using the 12 steps from Think and Grow Rich in Napoleon Hill's book. You know, creating the multiple sources of income, and then studying everything on success and wealth building available. You know, study from the people that have figured the game out. They figured out that key, that trick. You know, I don't know if you've ever felt like me, where you looked around and you thought, you know, man, I've had to grind my whole career. You know, the super long days, the super long weeks, the super long months, the super long years. You know. And then it just seems like man, it's so easy for other people. You know, it's so easy for, you know, this rich dude or whatever that is, you know, just when something else comes up and boom, they got another business open and it's taken off and they got people interested in working with them. Well, that didn't happen overnight, first off. And it's something that's absolutely attainable. You know, once you become successful and you prove to other people that you can, you know, maintain and grow a company, that you're willing to put the things in to make those companies work. People want to work with you. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, I got far in my career by really just being easy to work with. Anything that came up, any stumbling block, anything like that, you know, really just went and tackled it. You know, so it's been good for me to keep that positive mental attitude to go, yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah, I think I can handle that. You know, and I go and I do it, and yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a learning process, but you know, but at the end of the day, man, I've gotten that much better for putting myself in that situation. You know, kind of that growth situation. So. You know, and it's like, how many times something interesting that gets talked about by Bob Proctor, who, you know, bless his soul, great man, just, you know, passed away last year, unfortunately. I believe it was last year. And, you know, he talked about the top performing salesmen in this company, you know, doing over $1 million a year. And he asked him one day, he said, hey, how many other salesmen in your organization have reached out, you know, have reached out to discuss this with you, you know, have reached out to take you to lunch, buy you lunch, ask you, hey, how are you doing this? You know, how are you crushing, you know, these $1 million sales, you know, every year, all year long? And the man said, nobody, zero. Nobody had ever asked how to become better by the best performing person in their organization, you know. And it's like, at the risk of sounding dumb, I ask people all the time, you know, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you recommend for this? And I just do it without, I don't care if somebody, oh, why doesn't that guy know that? You know, it's like, well, maybe I didn't know it as well as you. You know, maybe I needed some of that advice, you know. And it's like, hey, whatever, man, put your ego aside, you know, go ask, get better. So, you know, I just thought that was interesting. You know, so I try and ask any of those top performing people that I can get around, you know, hey, what's the trick? What's the niche? And then also too with you know, with the books, you know, I mean, that's literally, so, you know, we have this neat army green little gun bag, you know, and really I carry around, you know, the books that are like, look at this thing, it's got a rubber band around it, Power Your Subconscious, yeah, that's Dr. Joe Murphy. You know, reading these things, you know, daily. You know, I try once a day to take and read 2 pages out of, you know, one of these books. You know, what I didn't have room for Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's another one, Robert Kiyosaki. You know, but just really, like, this is study material. That's what this is. You know, and like I said, I'll take you through one of my pages just in the beginning of the book that really hit me pretty hard when I was reading it, you know. You know, so some of these quotes, you know, these are stuff that you see, like the motivational type quotes, things like that. But they really are ones that just hit home to me in such depth that I wanted to write them down, you know, and I wanted to put them in my notes. You know, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. one thing I didn't get were, notes going all the way back to the Bible. There's Bible verses about, what a man thinketh, he can achieve and he can create. So going back all the way into Scripture, they were trying to record and then spread that information that we really truly are limited by our own beliefs and limited by our own paradigms. And I know it's easy to think, well, but you don't know. You don't know my situation. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know this. You don't know that. Okay, I get it. Like, tough things happen. The world presents challenges daily. But I don't think that's an excuse to not change your mindset. To open up an entire world of possibilities. It's like the people that are creating, the planes and the rockets and things like that. Elon Musk, and I've never met the guy, but I just have this overwhelming feeling that if you ask him, about something that he hasn't done yet, the chances are he's not going to say, "Oh, that's impossible," or "I don't think I can do it. Oh, that's too tough." Like, I don't think he has that's too much of anything in his body. I just don't think there is a no. And look at the things that him and his companies and his people have achieved. It's crazy. So another really good one is a seed planted in the soil attracts to itself everything it needs for proper unfolding. And that was Dr. Joe Murphy, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. The difference between failure and success is perseverance. That's Ariana Huffington. It is then our attitude toward life that determines life's attitude towards us. Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. One of my favorites. Start with the end in mind. If you want to be a millionaire, talk like one, act like one, work like one. Makes sense. Faith and fear both demand you believe in something you cannot see, you choose. So it's that time-old faith over fear, or faith versus fear. And the subtlety of something like that, faith or fear, the subtlety in the self-talk, you don't even understand that you could be partially living in fear, because some of the self-talk is just it's so subtle. I'll do that tomorrow. Procrastination. But I'm not them. And it's like, okay, well, that person that's doing whatever cool thing that you want to do, or whatever business you want to start and run, they're only doing that because they didn't tell themselves, oh, well, I'm not that person. That's what got. So they didn't allow that doubt, that self-talk or anything to keep them from doing what they wanted to do. So set a goal to achieve something that is so big, so exhilarating, that excites you and scares you at the same time. It must be a goal that is so appealing, so much in line with your spiritual core, that you can't get it out of your mind. If you do not get chills when you set your goal, you're not setting big enough goals. Bob Proctor. Love that one. That one's a little long to remember all the time, but Bob Proctor from You Were Born Rich. Work is a surefire money-making scheme. Work is a surefire money-making scheme. I love that. Dave Ramsey. More Than Enough. The 10 keys to changing your financial destiny. If you have 10 investments, 3 of them will be home runs, 5 will do nothing, 2 will be a disaster, and you will learn more from the 2 disasters than the 3 home runs. I could say in my life that's a fact. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. If the day ever comes that you have to fight, here we go. If the day ever comes that you have to fight for your life, the only thing that will determine the outcome is if you have trained and prepared for that fight. Makes sense? Every time you train with the motivation and purpose that you will be the hardest person someone ever tried to kill. Tim Kennedy, owner, Sheepdog Response. I've taken the course Protector 1 down in San Antonio, October last year. Loved it. Eye-opening, gut check, 5 hours of grappling for 2 days straight in the morning, then 5 hours out on the range after that, where I was really humbled with what a marksman I thought I was, and my shooting improved 500% in 2 days. Awesome instructors, just awesome people, awesome organization. I highly recommend it. I can, I will, I must. Eric Thomas. I mean, that sums it up. I can, I will, I must. So, you know, for me, it's about opening my mind to the possibilities that are right in front of me every day. You know, I talked earlier about multiple sources of income, multiple businesses. Start listening to the people around you. They'll talk about their needs. They'll talk about what they want, and it'll open opportunities at every turn. Just think of all the opportunities staring at us right in the face. We may not even be aware of it, and they're right there. I have more opportunities than I have time to accomplish right now. So obviously, yes, still have a full-time job. Just wrote a business plan yesterday morning for one of the companies. I had a call this morning. With my little sister, who's sitting for her CPA, to talk about, hey, how should we organize this to open it up? And boom, partnership, cool. Partnership, LLC partnership. I'm like, man, awesome. So, like, not take advantage, but use the people around you that are, like, Megan knows more about business than I probably ever will. So, and she's down. She's like, I'm down. Let's do this. Let's get these things going. And so I just, huge shout out, huge thanks. You know, but these opportunities are right there. The one that, you know, I was writing the business plan for yesterday came up because somebody close to me, close to my family, you know, who's taking care of myself and my boys now, you know, just making us look slick, you know, getting our hair cut right. But anyway, yeah, somebody in her family has a need for something and was explaining to me, was very passionate about it. And I thought to myself, and this was coming up on, I don't know, 4 weeks ago or so, and I thought to myself, there's an opportunity here to make people's lives better, you know, not just a member of her family, but other people's lives, you know, a whole group of people. There's something here, I think. And so then I just kind of started talking, you know, to some people that I work with, designer, you know, owner of the company. Oh yeah, I got a buddy who's got his own fabrication shop. He does makes custom double bearings, you know, for wheelchairs. I'm like, really? Okay. Hey, yeah, I got a buddy owns a R&D company down in Texas. You know, they do all kinds of stuff with injectable foam, stuff like that. Yeah, I'd probably talk to him about making, you know, way better seats that actually last. And like, really? Okay, cool. So that's what I mean, though. But like, my paradigm had changed 12 weeks ago. And I told myself I'm going to be open to every opportunity that's available. So just like that. And the whole premise is we got the opportunity to make people's lives better, because there's probably tons of people out there suffering from the same issues that can be, deadly. They can cause, they can kill people. So, and that's just one opportunity, Then at the same time, I'm like, let's get this information out there, So why not start a podcast? Why not put a YouTube channel on? Why not have, why not put your brand into some clothes? So anyway, that's just an example of like how things can happen and how they can take place. So, obviously we're in the modeling process right now. Then we'll go out and look for fabricators, talk to fabricators, and we'll go out and see about getting some of those products made and patented and all that. So that's why I'm not talking too much. Yeah, I mean, imagine if you replaced all your I can'ts with I can, I will, I must. How much different would your life be? And then, start to read everything and listen to everything. I mean, people think I'm a nerd, man. All I listen to is audiobooks. That's it. And I listen to the same ones over and over and over. So like Think and Grow Rich, every time I listen to it, I get more, not better, but just more information back. Something else hits, and I'll talk about that when I read that clip from the book. So reading everything you can. I've read so many, and they're kind of conflicting. I mean, different people have different programs, so you have like Susie Orman, you have Dave Ramsey, you have Robert Kiyosaki. Dave Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki absolutely could not conflict more with each other, but I practice principles out of both programs. I'm looking into buying, my first 4-family rental to create some residual income. I like Rich Dad Poor Dad's philosophy of, calling that good debt. It's an asset, and then refinancing, pulling your money out and putting that into another. So that's how you build. That's how you're building. That leg of a company, which could be your real estate side. Yeah, and then at the same time too, I'm a firm believer in a lot of Dave Ramsey's principles. Firm believer in not carrying $20,000 in credit card debt, other goofy loans, driving a vehicle that's worth half of your house, just things like that. Getting in huge debt with a $1,000 truck payment or something like that. I should say if you can't afford it. So let me just stop by saying that. But yeah, and then at the same time too, I still invest for myself, my wife. We both have pensions. I have an annuity, and then we have our IRAs that I started. I had mine, started hers when we got married. So things like that. So I am diversified. I invest in mutual funds, but also realize too the importance of of what Bob Proctor was trying to tell us. It still is. I mean, his company still lives on. His teachings live on. His videos, all over YouTube. Sometimes if I just want to change gears, I'll just go, boom, listen to a YouTube video from Bob Proctor giving a talk for an hour, and there's always something new, always. But he's a huge believer in creating wealth through multiple sources of income, whether it be real estate, brick and mortar business, online business, whatever, just multiple sources of income. And it makes sense because you can create multiple sources of income and build them at the same time, which is what I'm doing currently. So the other thing that really motivated me to start this was having, you know, two sons. My oldest just turned 5, and you know, I was looking at him the other day. I was just in awe of him. You know, like, we got him into martial arts, and he puts the gloves on, and sometimes I just sit back and I look at him and I'm just in awe. You know, like, what an amazing little human being. You know, but it dawned on me, like, oh, okay, he's 5. Yeah, he just celebrated his 5th birthday. I'm like, what if I would have started this 5 years ago? You know, what if I would have had this information? Maybe I wasn't ready. I don't know what the deal was. But what if I could have started this 5 years ago? You know, like, these businesses would be built. You know, we'd be having a much different conversation. So where I'm going with that is, you know, one of my notes was, you know, don't wait until you're ready to start. You know, I've heard before people go, oh, well, you know, when I get ready, when I get this, when I do this, and I'll be ready for, you know, to open a company, or I'll be ready to go out on my own, or I'll be ready to do this. And I'm not saying, like, I quit your job, you know, I'm not, obviously, you know, but I got a great job. I'm super, super grateful for it, super grateful for the organization, the people I work with, you know, ton of gratitude. You know, giving me opportunities to do things in my life that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. Been around the world for them. So, yeah, I'm not saying, you know, yeah, okay, turn your keys in tomorrow. I'm saying, look at your legacy. Look at what you're going to leave to those kids. You know, unfortunately, like I said, I come from, you know, a good family. You know, parents divorced, but they didn't have the same mindset. They had the mindset that school teaches you, you know, which is go to school, get a good job, keep your head down, and get in, you know, and work for what, you know, 45 years, you know, or 47 years, you know, into retirement. Like, when you put it like that, doesn't it seem like you're working a long time, you know, to retire and do what? You know, live on whatever you manage to invest, or whatever monthly, you know, not stipend, but pension you receive. Like, I think I was reading something on the internet today while I was doing some research, and somehow I stumbled across 40% of the millionaires in the world live in the United States of America. And I'll go back and I'll fact check myself on that. But yeah, 40% of the millionaires in the world, almost half, are in the United States of America. So you can't tell me that this isn't the greatest country in the world. You have the most opportunities here, you know. I mean, that's why people are, you know, swimming across rivers, smuggling. I know there's bad stuff going on when I say smuggling themselves in. I do not, you know, I'm not downplaying that at all. But people are literally sneaking into the country because it is the land of opportunity, you know, and it's all right there. That's why, you know, and everybody thinks that, like, everybody gets these huge, oh, the government give them a, you know, $100,000 grant, or the government did this, or the government did that. Did you ever think, no, they worked really hard, worked multiple jobs, multiple sources of income, and they were willing to grind nights, weekends, everything, in order to buy their first business, in order to invest their money into something, whether it be, you know, restaurant, whatever, you know. So, yeah, I love it. I love, you know, when I see hard-working immigrants, you know, that come to the United States with nothing, and then boom, you know, because it just goes to show, man, there is no substitute for hard work. So, yeah, and it's not because they were handed a whole bunch of opportunities, you know. In fact, I mean, they had a lot of cards stacked against them, you know, and they found a way to work, they found a way to grind through it. So, You know, that's what I enjoy seeing. That's what I enjoy seeing is you know, hardworking people not letting their circumstances be an excuse. So that's where I was going with the legacy. You know, I look at my boys, I'm in awe of them. They're amazing. Look at my wife, she's amazing. Holds our family down, trust me. You know, she's the planner. You know, she's that glue for us. You know, we'd be running around like a couple of cavemen, you know, clad in a leather clad in a piece of fur covering us if it wasn't for her. So don't wait. Don't wait. The time is right now. Right now. Trust me. You know, if you wait till you're ready, you're never going to be ready. And by that I mean to start learning. You know, and I'm not saying run out and buy that $1 million piece of property that's going to put you $1 million in debt. You know, meanwhile you have a bunch of other get out of debt, get out of all your bad debt. You know, and start looking. You know, it's you know, I'll go into a couple notes from the end about the different platforms and the costs and things like that. But it literally takes little to no money to open an LLC. You know, to write a business plan. You know, things like that. So, you know, my thought was, can I make the world a little bit better place? You know, and then be very cautious of whose opinion of myself I listen to. You know what I mean? There's always going to be haters out there. You know, so some of the key takeaways today is don't wait till you're ready. Get on it now. Get started now. Start changing the paradigm now. You know, from, you know, this is what I've been taught in school. This is what I've been telling myself my entire life. You know, work. Maybe I'll get that next bump. You know, and start looking at yourself like you are your own business, you know. So I've really started to take an internal look and go, okay, how am I interacting with the people around me? You know, what kind of employee am I at work? You know what I mean? Am I getting up, you know, putting a nice shirt on? You know, I had some comments at work the other day like, oh, are we going to the club? And I had, you know, real nice, because we still wear jeans being in construction, you know, nice pair of jeans, boots, belt, match my boots, nice black shirt, sleeves rolled up a little bit, black shirt underneath, hair, you know, hair done. I mean, I took a little bit of pride in how I wanted to look, you know, at work. And it's just funny because you get those comments, you know, you get those things said like, you know, like, oh, we going to the club? And it's like, and the guy's a buddy of mine, you know, but it's like, no, I just turned the dial up just a little bit, and all of a sudden you shine like a diamond in a goat's ass just by turning that dial up just a little bit, you know. Put that extra, you know, go the extra mile, and all of a sudden you're going to start to stand out with everything, you know. So it's not hard to separate yourself from the pack. So some of the key takeaways, and then I'm going to wrap it up, is, you know, don't sweat the small shit, because it's all small shit. Small people talk about small shit, so dream and talk big, you know. Yeah, do whatever you do well. Help anyone you can whenever you can. Stay positive. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Lift. So yeah, I'm also, you know, on top of trying to be a little bit cerebral, you know, I'm also just a meathead at heart, man. I love doing things. Train jiu-jitsu, no-gi catch wrestling, combat submission wrestling, Eric Paulson's program. Big shout out to Han down in Festus, Missouri. That's my gym. That's my home right there, man. Good freaking people. And you know, I got out of it for a couple of years, and then the biggest thing was that first step, you know, to get back into it. You know, just having kids and things like that, life, career, stuff like that. It's all excuses, but train, do some hard, put some hard things in your life. Add some resistance. You know, I love getting worked on the mats at jiu-jitsu. You know, I love the soft food, you know, Saturdays, soft food Thursdays, from getting choked out for 2 hours. You know, I love walking in and watching the guys that stayed progress through the belts, purple belts now, and just now it's a fight for my life. You know, I love it, man. We shake hands, you know, throw a hug at the end, man, and it's like all of that is stress inoculation. You know, all of that stress about work and about, you know, the project and this went wrong. That's all gone, man. It's all turned off. And then when you go back to it, you go, okay, that's not that big a deal, because I almost, you know, somebody was trying to kill me for 2 hours. So, okay, let's go back to that. I got a different mindset. My paradigm has changed. So, huge believer in, you know, lifting, staying strong, keep yourself strong, training on, you know, on the mats, off the mats, trail run. You know, just last year I got the opportunity to do my first Spartan 50K. That was freaking awesome, you know. And I remember somebody asked me, like, you know, did you win? It's like, did I win? I did my first Spartan as a 50K, and I'm about 5'8", 200 pounds. Like, I'm built for comfort, not for speed. I said, no, I didn't win. I went there to finish. You know, and I said, I know how many burpees I did for things that got missed. I know when my calves cramped up on mile 9, it was going to be a long day. Super grateful to the whole staff, the whole organization as a whole, you know. And no, it's just, it's that resistance. It's key. It's putting that resistance in my life to make myself just a little bit better. But yeah, lift, train, and shoot. You know, I take that seriously now. I am the protector of my family. You know, so if I'm going to carry a pistol, I damn sure better know how to use it, when to use it, what's behind my target, you know, and then be able to group it in a pattern, you know. Absolutely, you know, I remember being on the line, you know, at the sheepdog course, and I remember one of the instructors saying, you know, if that's somebody in your home, you cannot afford to miss. You just killed your family. I mean, that's what I mean, like that level of seriousness. So even one of the date nights that my wife and I had, you know, I took her to the range. We went to the range, said, okay, let's get you familiar on your pistol. You know, let's, you know, change, you know, do you know how to do a tactical reload? You know, do you know everything about your firearm? You know, can you reset, you know, on target, smooth and slow to get the speed in time? So just things like that. And lastly, you know, yeah, and being, you know, the hardest person in the room to kill. It's Tim Kennedy's quote. I love that, you know, because I think, especially growing up, you know, I wrestled, played football, you know, and I'd mix it up, you know, with rival schools, stuff like that, you know, just typical kid stuff, you know, typical young jock type stuff. You know, and it was all, and kind of known as one of those guys, you know, and you know, but I never wanted to in my life be, as I got older, you know, it's still training like on the mats. You know, that was in my 30s when I got into jiu-jitsu, and it was one of the best things that ever happened for me. You know what I mean? Because now all of a sudden you get a real good feel for, like, yeah, there's people out there that will kill you. You know, if you walk around like a tough guy and get out of line. So I'm like, okay, you know, so then people that don't train and you talk to them about that, you know, like, well, are you crazy? You know, you're at a mixed martial arts gym, and it's like, no, I'm not crazy. And I wasn't trying to portray myself as a tough guy. I just didn't know how to explain. And the first time I heard Tim Kennedy say, yeah, you know, I work to be the hardest person in that room to kill, I was like, check. That's it right there. That makes sense. That explains what I can't explain. So, working to be the hardest person in the room to kill. On top of everything else, you know, be the best husband, father, you know, all of that. So here I wanted to run through just a couple of notes at the end, and this was really to explain, like, just how easy some of this stuff is nowadays, man. We're not like, it's not the 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, where you call, leave a message at a hotel, people pick their messages up at the end of the day. I mean, just look at the technology we have in front of us. I mean, I'm looking at a GoPro 10, you know, it's $400 at Best Buy, you know, boom, check, done. But just things like, you know, I come across FormSwift, formswift.com, business plans, any type of templates. What do you need? Contracts, $99 a year. $99 a year. So I'm like, cool, man. I need to write a business plan, because that's the plan for. Okay, so that was weird. Yeah, my GoPro 10 apparently has a problem with overheating. So just learned that. So I have to be more conscious of that. Where I left off though was, you know, business plan templates, $99 for a year, and they have all kinds of templates on there. Well worth $100. You know, website for e-commerce, you know, through Zarla. I actually paid the $200 extra, and somebody from Zarla basically set up Blue Collar Champions site. Like, to me, that was the best money I could spend right there. You know, Buzzsprout for posting the podcast and then getting it out to different places. You know, it's like $12 or $15 a month, but that gives me like 12 hours a month, which I don't even think I'll be making 12 hours of content a month. You know, but then you have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, the young guy who cuts my grass in my neighborhood, young entrepreneur himself, you know, is like, well, why don't you get on TikTok? You know, I'm like, so looking at that, we'll see what develops there. So yeah, I mean, there's no more excuses. The excuses are gone. You know, why you can't, why I can't, you know, create multiple sources of income, create multiple companies, you know, so yeah, the excuses are gone. So real quick, I wanted to read this is page 18, Think and Grow Rich. This was actually compiled by Ross Cornwell. So that's the edition that I got. The edition that makes all others obsolete is what the top says. So. And I agree. I mean, it's a great edition. It's super easy to read. One of the main weaknesses of the human race is the average person's familiarity with the word impossible. People know all the rules which will not work. They know all the things which cannot be done. This book was written for those who seek the rules which have made others successful and who are willing to stake everything on those rules. A great many years ago, I purchased a fine dictionary. The first thing I did with it was to turn to the word impossible and neatly clip it out of the book. That would not be an unwise thing for you to do. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. The object of this book is to help all who seek it to learn the art of changing your minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. Another weakness found in altogether too many people is the habit of measuring everything and everyone by their own impressions and beliefs. Some who read this will believe that no one can think and grow rich. They cannot think in terms of riches because their thought habits have been steeped in poverty, want, misery, failure, and defeat. These unfortunate people remind me of a prominent Asian who came to America when he was a student to be educated in American ways. He attended the University of Chicago. One day, President William Rainey Harper met this young man on the campus, stopped to chat with him for a few minutes, and asked what had impressed him as being the most noticeable characteristic of the American people. "Why?" the student exclaimed. "Your eyes." What does the typical Caucasian say about people of Asian descent? We refuse to believe, or we think odd, that which is not familiar or which we do not understand. We foolishly believe that our own limitations are the proper measure of limitations. Sure, another person's eyes may appear different because they are not the same as our own. Millions of people look at the achievements of highly successful entrepreneurs such as Henry Ford after they have arrived and envy them because of their good fortune or luck or genius or whatever it is that they credit for the entrepreneur's fortunes. Perhaps one person in every 100,000 knows the secret of entrepreneurial success, and those who do not know are too modest or too reluctant to speak of it because of its simplicity. A single event will illustrate the secret perfectly. And then it goes on to talk about how Henry Ford wanted the V8 to build an engine with the entire 8 cylinders cast into one block. We'll go over that next time. Yeah, look, this is the journey. So I'm going to document it, and we're going to roll. I mean, we're going to take the training wheels off, okay? So again, everybody who watches this, I appreciate it. If it's YouTube, give me a thumbs up. And let's take this journey together. I look forward to keeping everybody informed as how things unroll. And then of course, also just get after life. We only got one shot at this thing. So get after it. Get after life. All right. Let's see.